Hello guys, we are back with our next lecture. In this lecture, let us discuss about types of compiler and the difference between compiler and interpreter, guys. So once Python has become the popular language, everyone heard the word interpreter and now everyone is confused between interpreter and compiler, right? Yes. So anyway, we'll be taking the help of Python only to explain it also, okay? So don't worry, okay? Yes. So let us first discuss the types of compiler. So when we are discussing about types of compiler, there are mainly three types you can say, or you can say two types also. So the first type is a single pass compiler. So when we are talking about phases, so phase means okay, so phase means each stage is a phase, guys. So in compiler we are having multiple stages, right? So each and every phase is a phase, okay? So each and every step is a phase. When it comes to pass, it is nothing but how many times you are going to pass your code through the compiler. Got it? Yes. So from this only you can understand the definition, right? So what is single pass? So you are going to pass the code only once. So source code can be converted into target code with one pass. Okay, moving on to two pass. So when it comes to two pass, here you are going to have compiler in two parts, guys. So the first part they popularly called it as a front end, and the second part they call it as a back end. So you will give your source code to the front end. So front end gives some intermediate representation, and once this intermediate representation is ready, you are going to give it to the back end. So now back end will give you the back end will help you to convert into the target code. Got it? Yes. So when it comes to multiprocessor, so here we are going to have some middle end. So there could be multiple layers also in between. Okay. Yes. So once your source code is given, so you will give it to front end. So front end will convert into some intermediate representation. So now again there will be some middle end. So basically there could be multiple layers here, and all those layers at the end they are going again to represent in some format, and they will give it to you. And once it is reached to the back end, it will give you the machine code. Got it? Yes. So these are nothing but this multi-pass parsers, guys. Single pass, two pass, and multi-pass. Got it? Yes. Okay. So now I hope everyone got a clear idea, right? Yes. So now let us go through the differences between compiler and interpreter, guys. Okay. So when we are talking about a compiler and interpreter, I think everyone recalls two languages, right? So C language as well as Python. So whenever your faculty told about C language, they always ask you to install compiler, use compiler and all those things, right? And when it comes to Java, they will talk about JVM, JDK and all those things. So, and when it comes to Python, they call it as a compiler only. Sorry, they call it as interpreter, right? To be clear. Yes. So what is the difference in between these all things, and why do they name it differently to confuse us? Is that so? No, right? Yes. So now let us go through this thing. So when it comes to input, so when we compare with respect to input, so for compiler, remember it, guys, I will give you a clear idea, so please concentrate. So for compiler to run a particular block of code, you are going to give the whole code to it, guys. So if this is a piece of code, so where are my pens? Okay, yes. So assume that this is a piece of code, so you are going to give that whole code to that, guys. Okay, so basically compiler will take what input, guys? The entire program. So it is going to start executing the entire program. When it comes to interpreter, just a single line of program can also be given and you can execute it, guys. So when it comes to Python, if you recall, you can write a single line and execute, right? Single line, execute, single line, execute. There is no need for you to write the whole code and then start execution, right? Yes. So that is the difference. Moving on to the output. So when we are working with compilers, so if you recall what is the output of compiler, guys, so it is going to give you some assembly code or some intermediate code. But when you talk about interpreter, so there's no intermediate code and it's directly an object code, guys. So to be clear, object code can directly be understood by our computers. Okay. Yes. So moving on to working. So basically if something goes wrong, so let us go through this only. So working, so compilation, then execution. So basically when we are working with compilers, so first it will compile the code and you will get no compiler errors, then it will go to execution and it will start executing, right? Yes. But when it comes to interpreter, it is going to compile, execute in that way, line by line fashion. Got it? Yes. So as it is executing the whole code here, okay, the speed of this will be faster, and here as it is doing line by line, so it will waste some time in between, right? So that is the reason why it is slower. And when it comes to memory, here it is going to store the entire code, so it needs more memory. Here it is going to store only single line, so it needs less memory. Similarly, when it comes to errors, so it is going to execute the whole code, means it will display all the errors. In line 7 you wrote that, in line 12 you wrote that, in line 30 you wrote that. But when it comes to interpreters, it will give line by line. So in that line you are having error. So once you solve it, you will get next line error. So that is nothing but interpreters. Moving on to error detection, this is really tough, guys. because when it comes to compiler you need to solve one after the other, and there is a huge list. So if you wrote a bad program, you will get a lot of errors and you will be really frustrated, right? But when it comes to interpreter, you will get one error one after the other, so in the exact order how it is executing, so it will be really easy for you to resolve that errors, guys. And similarly, when it comes to code optimization, here as the whole code is given at the initial stage, it is really easy. Here only some lines are given, it is really tough. So the best example here is when it comes to compiler using C, C++, C#, and any kind of TypeScripts, and moving on to interpreter, PHP, Perl, Python, Ruby, there are many languages, okay? Yes. So now I hope everyone got a clear idea with respect to this, right? And when it comes to Java, the whole thing is different, guys. So you can say that Java is not a compiler, or it doesn't use interpreter. So it uses something in between them, okay? Yes. So basically Java code you will write with a .java file, right? Yes. So here we are going to have a compiler which is going to convert it into .class file. So if you recall, we write a java c space file name .java. So it is going to convert it into .class name. So once this .class name is available, so it is nothing but a bytecode, guys. So almost this code could be understood by our computer. So now using JVM, you are going to teach your computer that this is that, and it will start executing the code. Got it? Yes. So this is with respect to Java, okay? Yes. So now I hope everyone got at least some basic idea with respect to these compilers, interpreters, and single phase, multi phase, and all those things, right? Yes. Okay. So now I hope everyone got a clear idea on this. So in the next lecture, we are going to discuss in detailed about lexical analyzer, guys. Okay. Yes. So we will be introducing about those grammar also. I'll revise type 2 grammar only. So if you haven't watched our grammar lecture in TOC, like what is a type 0 grammar, type 1 grammar, type 2 grammar, type 3 grammar, please go and watch it, guys. That video will be enough for the next lecture, okay? Yes, because I'll be introducing you about that grammar in the next lecture itself, okay? Yes. So in the next lecture, let us continue with lexical analysis, okay? Yes. So let us meet in the next lecture. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe for more awesome videos like this. Thank you.